And I told my dad this, y'all go help me. I'm in a man in need, man. I need some help.
In Muslim countries, people turn to Sharia, Islamic law, to resolve their problems.
This is material that my children are finding around the house. I just want this man to just let us go.
In Britain, 40% of Muslims now want Sharia to be a part of British law. In some Muslim countries under Sharia, adulterers can be stoned to death and thieves can have their hands cut off.
Yes, we want to offer it to the British society. If they don't accept it, they would need more and more prisons.
Unknown to many, this parallel legal system is already here, ruling on people's lives and sorting out their problems. As the number of Muslim divorces grow, Britain's Sharia courts are now taking the flak.
Listen to me. There's no way that I would like to even see that man again.
Is Islamic law in this country a force for good and here to stay?
Sharia is knocking at the door of Britain.
For the very first time, we go inside Britain's busiest Sharia court.
Please, I beg you. Give me back my sanity.
But where has he been? His family been?
We are accusing him of that.
Yeah, but it's too late now.
You listen to
it's
us.
Too late. He can't help what he wants to now.
In Regent's Park Mosque, central London, on the last Wednesday of each month, Britain's oldest Islamic court is in session. It's been running for 25 years, ruling on all aspects of Muslim life.
But it was not a forced marriage.
Arranged first marriage.
Arranged marriage, not forced marriage.
Arranged first marriage.
आप ये बताएं कि 15 साल या 20 साल पहले जो रहे हैं 15 साल वो फोर्स नहीं थे मेरे साथ ठीक-ठाक रही.
Presiding are sheikhs, respected members of the Muslim community with intimate knowledge of Islamic law. Their rulings are not recognized by British law, but for the Muslim community, their judgments are the word of God.
Writing this matter, you can wait.
Yeah, but why wait when he's not making it? We've already been 2 years separate and nobody's made an effort and I'm living on income support. Why should I keep on cutting out income support and he's living his life?
One of the court's most senior judges is Maulana Abu Saeed. Today he's chairing the court.
For you and for your children, Allah should provide for you this.
They're dealing with a growing problem in the Muslim community and one which makes up 95% of their work. Divorce.
We are not here to play with anybody's life.
As British subjects, a civil decree is the only valid legal divorce available. But for most Muslims, a religious divorce is also essential.
Today it was said that you should make a decision.
Give him three months, and in the meantime, if nothing happens...
If you wanted to make it work, they should have done it at the beginning. This is now, you're just giving this time, that's only, I'm not saying anything.
We are representatives of the words of God. We interpret the words of God. The main motive has been that we should help Muslim people resolve their problems, disputes. That's why compromise, counseling are our tools. On many occasions, these worked and worked successfully.
Reflecting society as a whole, divorce amongst Britain's Muslims is rising. Traditional value systems involving family honour, imported from the Indian subcontinent, are under attack. A new generation of young British Muslims are now trying to forge their own British Islamic identity. They're turning to Sharia law to help them decipher what is Islam and what is culture. It's a confusion that's tearing at the heart of traditional Muslim family life and destroying thousands of marriages. Imran Iqbal is 27, and like the majority of young British Muslims destined to appear before the court, he's of Pakistani origin. Imran may have been born in Britain, but in keeping with strong cultural traditions, his family selected his bride, his cousin Nasra in Pakistan. Imran says family pressure forced him to marry a woman that he didn't love, and has almost led to the breakdown of his marriage.
In the beginning, I told my dad, yeah, you messed up my life.
because he told me to get married to someone. And I did the nikah, but I wanted to get out. My dad said you can't get out now. Once you've done it, you've done it. And I said that was, really, messed up my future. And I even told her.
Culturally, there is intense pressure for Imran and Nasra to stay together for the sake of family honour. 6 years and 3 children later, they're about to turn to the Sharia court to help save their marriage. When the court's not in session, the sheikhs from the Islamic Sharia Council work out of a converted corner shop in Leighton, East London.
You pray 5 times a day. What you do now as well, increase your acts of ibadah, because Allah put you in this situation and He's the only one that can take you out of it.
It is one of dozens of Islamic courts throughout the country and a registered charity, funded by donations and staffed by volunteers.
Most of the time we are corresponding with the spouses of the women, that the women are seeking divorce from you. What are your views? They seek guidance. And some people have matrimonial disputes among themselves. They want some reconciliation between their husband and wife. So things like that.
Using their detailed knowledge of Sharia law, the sheikhs offer spiritual, not legally binding guidance on all aspects of people's lives, from what they can eat and drink to how they should pray. Vital in Britain, where culture and religion are so often confused.
2 different people, his ideals about life, and he comes from a different cultural background, which is not the same as me. And sometimes I don't understand his logic and his understanding. It's not worked, to the point I had a mental breakdown, just totally collapsed.
That's why we step in. I have to support my daughter. Yeah, I have to support my daughter. I don't want to lose her.
Inshallah, you will regain her. Only problem, both of them are still under the same roof. Court has to.
It's very difficult for her.
Court has to decide about the house.
Sharia Council.
In most of our activities, especially in the social arena, most of them are to do with local, not only culture, local custom, local tradition, age-old tradition coming from forefathers, and nothing to do with the teachings of Islam or with the human considerations at all.
Imran's story began 6 years ago on a visit to Pakistan. Following in the tradition of many young British Pakistani Muslims, his family took him back home to find him a wife.
Yeah, because when I was younger, I thought, I'll just go back home, get married. Like you see in the films, you see like your brothers or your cousins, stuff like that, normal. That's how I wanted it, to be honest. But it's like the bloodry, the people, relatives back home, they actually like pounce on you once you go there. Once you know there's a Britisher, probably can smell you a mile away in Pakistan. And so like, I went there, innocently, just looking around, and all of a sudden, next thing I know, I ended up getting married to someone. We're Muslims as well as British, so we've actually got like 2 sides. We actually go with the flow, in England, see what's happening here, and we've got to look after the relatives back home as well. I really don't blame my family, because they had like something like an honor, and I respected that as well, because that's what, my dad said, don't give a divorce in Pakistan, keep my respect. So that's why I went along with the marriage, and I came here and actually called it here as well.
After they were married, Nasra joined Imran in the UK 5 years ago. Away from her family and unable to speak a word of English, she's completely dependent on Imran.
मैं तो आई थी इधर यही सोच के वो मेरे साथ खुश रहेगा, कोई ताने वगैरह नहीं देगा, बस दोनों नॉर्मल होंगे. अभी मैं आई हूँ, इसका काम आता है मुझे खुश रखे, तकलीफ ना दे, अगर बच्चे चाहिए तो. लेकिन ये मुझे जानबूझ के तकलीफ देता कि यहाँ से जाए, तो ठीक है, मैं आ गई हूँ, जा भी सकती हूँ. कौन सी मुश्किल बात है. इसकी भी यही है कि मैं तुम्हें वैसे खुश नहीं हूँ तुम्हारे साथ, तुम्हें इसीलिए लेके आया हूँ तुम्हें इस्तेमाल करने के लिए। मैं कोई फालतू चीज तो नहीं हूँ ना इस्तेमाल होने के लिए, मेरी अपनी भी जिंदगी है।
क्या मतलब है इस्तेमाल करने के लिए?
बच्चे मेरे पास होंगे, इनको खाना दोगी, संभालोगी और मैं जाऊंगा पाकिस्तान में यशी करूंगा। मेरे अंदर दिल नहीं है।
The Islamic Sharia Council is the oldest Islamic court in the country and is run by Muslim scholars. The sheikhs work for free, but they also have a variety of other roles for which they're paid. When he's not at the council, Maulana Abu Saeed works as a hospital chaplain across a number of London hospitals.
I'm halfway through my treatment now. After this, I've got one more chemo. Then I've got my surgery and my radiotherapy. And after that, I've got another 7 more chemos.
So do you think doctors can give you the care, or there is another force to help you?
It's up to Allah, and
yes,
He's the curer.
Never be hopeless. Yeah. He has got all the power. Okay, Dr. Assalamu alaikum. Our rewards as a believer, as a Muslim, all the activities that we do in this world, in this life, our main objective is to seek the favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord Almighty. If we are trying to ease out the problems of the people, help the people in distress, in difficulty, then God will help us.
Originally from Bangladesh, Sheikh Abu Saeed came to Britain in the 80s and was a mosque imam in East London. To become a sheikh, he's devoted his life to study.
We had set course of study to become a scholar, to become an imam, 14 to 16 years course. Sheikh is not the name of the job. Sheikh is the title when someone has got the expertise, experience, knowledge in religion, he is called a sheikh. In Islam, we don't differentiate between private and public life. I'm a Muslim inside out.
Imran's marital problems have gone from bad to worse. Nasra is now living in Bradford, whilst he is still in London. A few weeks ago, he dropped a bombshell. He told Nasra he'd taken a second wife in Pakistan. They had a massive row and Imran issued her an Islamic divorce. Since then, they haven't spoken.
Sometimes you can't live with a woman. The first one, yeah, she's always nagging and this and that. But I'm lucky that Islam has provided me, if I've got this sort of a problem, you know, there's a solution for it. And it does work, because I've been told, I know some people have got 2 wives, 3, 4 wives. And, you know, there is a kind of understanding that they actually build up.
In Islam, a man can have up to 4 wives, but only a tiny percentage of Muslim men worldwide actually practice polygamy. Under British law, husbands and wives can only have 1 spouse at a time. Imran could never bring his second wife to live in Britain. Even so, to Imran's parents, it seemed like a good solution to their son's unhappy marriage.
और शादी करने के बाद जो है जब वापस आए तो मुझे बताया गया कि इमरान खुश नहीं है ये शादी में। तो मैंने इमरान को कहा, पर बेटा अभी शादी हो गई है तो अभी वो तुम्हारी बीवी हमारी इज्जत है और इसको बुलाना पड़ेगा। तो इसने जो है ना इसरार यही था कि नहीं मुझे नहीं बुलानी, मुझे तो जो है उसको तलाक देनी है। तो मैंने कहा उसको तलाक नहीं दे सकते हैं और तुम्हें और शादी करनी हो तो तुम और शादी कर लेना। हमने इसको इजाजत तो इसलिए दी थी दूसरी शादी के लिए क्योंकि इस्लाम इजाजत देता है कि तुम गुनाह की जिंदगी नहीं इख्तियार करो, शादी कर लो तुम। तो शादी की इजाजत तो दी हमने, लेकिन ये कहा था कि बीवी पहली को तलाक नहीं देगा, उसको भी साथ रखेगा।
That's all right, yeah. That's right.
By issuing Nasra an Islamic divorce, Imran has gone against his parents' wishes. Unlike a woman, a Muslim man can verbally divorce his wife on the spot. It's called talaq. For his family's sake, he now wants to take her back, and he's hoping the Sharia court will help him do it.
I'm hoping that they're going to say that I still have a chance, you know, for a reconciliation. I can still get back to her. That's all I'm hoping for. Because my relatives are saying, you know, that what I've did here was really, you know, bad. I don't want to cast as an evil person, so...
In an Islamic divorce, men are supposed to pronounce talaq to their wives on 3 separate occasions, not all in one go as Imran did. For the Sharia Council, it's a common mistake that they are correcting on a daily basis. Today, Imran's seeing Sheikh Hassan, the senior judge and secretary of the council. He's hoping the sheikh will give him a religious ruling or fatwa that will convince Nasra and her family that the talaq isn't final.
There's a misconception in the West about fatwa since the Salman Rushdie issue. A fatwa is just called a ruling, Islamic ruling, or in the Christian world also, a person can ask for any opinion from Pope or anyone. That is also called fatwa. The Muslim community living here in Britain, majority of them are unaware of Islam. So they ask sometimes very stupid questions. Even in the matrimonial affairs, they give talaq and they think that it's a joke.
I actually gave a written statement saying, you know, talaq to my wife.
Did you say talaq?
Yes, I mentioned talaq, yeah.
The word talaq?
The word talaq was actually mentioned.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it 3 times?
It was 3, I think it was 4 times actually. And I said it was a joke, it was like actually just to scare her off.
First of all, there is no joke.
Yeah, I understand that.
In a marriage or in a divorce, there is no joke at all. It is always taken very seriously. Yes. This divorce is valid, but not 3 divorces. For example, after a few years' time, you got another row between you and your wife, and you said divorce once again. This is the 2nd divorce. Still, you got the right to take her back, because it is the 2nd divorce. And then after a certain time, once again you say divorce to her. That would be the 3rd time.
Final straw.
It is the final one.
Yeah.
There you can't take her back. You can't even remarry her.
Yes.
We can write for you a fatwa that your 3 divorces are considered as one divorce and you are allowed to take your wife back. You got children as well?
Yeah, 3 kids.
3 kids?
Yeah.
With 3 kids, you want to divorce your wife just simply like that?
I wanted to scare her, that's the thing. I didn't want to divorce her.
Yes. Are you going to do it again?
No. I'm not.
If you do it again, don't bother us.
No.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
That's all right. Thank you very much. Assalamu
alaikum. There are many cases of this nature. Because in our community, people are ignorant about the procedure of divorce. People are coming and crying here and saying that, I did not know, I just said talaq 3 times to my wife. I did not know that it is going to be 3 talaq in this way. And we have to tell him, we have to advise him that you don't do it first of all. And secondly, you got the right to take your wife back.
Yes, good news to be honest, because everyone was saying that it's done now and that's it, it's off. Next move is Thursday, come here, get the fatwa, the written documentation, and shoot off to Bradford to actually, you know, tell the situation as well.
Imran's got the ruling he wanted. His marriage is still intact. Just. In a couple of days, he can come back and collect his fatwa. He's hoping it will be enough to convince Nasra to return home to London. When a Muslim woman wants to divorce her husband, the process is very different. In Islam, a man can divorce his wife on the spot, but a woman has to ask her husband to divorce her. If he refuses, she then has the right to ask a Sharia court to dissolve the marriage. It's called khula. 26-year-old Iram Shahzad has had to apply to the Islamic court for her khula because her husband has refused to grant her one. They're now separated and Iram is living in a women's refuge. As a woman, she has to prove unreasonable behavior. Her husband's on remand awaiting trial on a matter unrelated to the marriage.
It was basically a conventional arranged marriage whereby his family approached my parents
And then it was, we got to see each other, and it sort of went from there. We courted for 6 months and, got on really well. Love of my life, so to speak. And we were married 6 months later in May 03. And, things sort of started to go a little bit pear-shaped a couple of months after. My marriage is a Muslim marriage, and those vows were sacred, so therefore it's more important to me to go to the Sharia Council and get my Islamic divorce, more so than the civil.
Iram's about to have her first visit to the court to put forward her case for divorce.
I'm expecting them to be mostly male Asians. There's a huge difference between the Asian culture and the huge difference between Islam as a religion. In fact, I can confidently say, having read about it now, that the two contradict each other. And I think in the day and age that we're in, a lot of Asian men use their faith as a pick-and-choose mechanism to carry on the negative traits of their culture. But if Islam thought it was wrong, I wouldn't be able to do it, because it's Islam that's helping me get this, not the Asian culture or any Asian family.
Anyway, you give me a call between 5 and 7. All right? You're not alone. All right?
Iram's not alone in turning to the Sharia Council. The bulk of their work is dealing with women seeking divorce. They are busier than ever, receiving over 80 divorce applications a month. Aisha Ali has come in to start her divorce. She is joining a 3-month waiting list.
Hello? I don't know much about Islam, but all I know is you're not supposed to have a divorce. It's supposed to be really, really bad, and then it's still hated by Allah Ta'ala. But I say it because I've been brought up in London. It's just not acceptable here no more. If I was in, Pakistan, I would nowhere got a divorce. My family would make sure I was living with them no matter what. But because I'm in London, I'm lucky to get divorced and, move on with my life. But I don't think I'll get married back home again. Never.
With his wife Nasra still in Bradford, Imran's back at the council to pick up his fatwa. He's still hoping it's enough to get his family back.
This is General Fatwa, which is issued by Islamic Sharia Council, signed by the Secretary of Islamic Sharia Council and stamp of organization.
Okay, thanks very much. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
It just says what the Sheikh actually told me, but this is actually in writing, so I'm allowed to take her back.
At one of London's biggest mosques, Sheikh Hassan is delivering his Friday sermon. Today's topic is Sharia in Britain. The Sharia Council has been trying to get Muslim personal law recognised by the state.
They are free to worship the way they like.
In a recent poll, 40% of Muslims would like Sharia to be part of British law in predominantly Muslim areas. Under this law, in some Muslim countries, thieves can have their hands cut off and adulterers can be flogged.
Sharia is knocking at the door of Britain. So, if the state accepts it, then there is no problem with that. But if the state does not accept it, nobody is going to force the state to accept it.
As a Muslim, we want everything good for this country. We admit that we are not contributing anything in the advancement of the science, for example. But we got something good with us, and that is our way of life, joint family system, where there is a respect for the elders from the youngers. We can offer all these things to the British society. Then in the very same way, we got our Sharia laws as well. And we know that if Sharia laws are implemented, then you can turn this country into a haven of peace. Because once a thief's hand is cut off, nobody is going to steal. Only once, if an adulterer is stoned, nobody is going to commit this crime at all. There would be no rapist at all. So this is why we say that, yes, we want to offer it to the British society. If they accept it, that is for their good. And if they don't accept it, they would need more and more prisons.
Armed with their fatwa, Imran and his father are off to Bradford. It's not just Nasra that the fatwa's got to convince. It's her whole family.
कि अगर वो जो इसने शादी की है पाकिस्तान जाके उसको तलाक दे के आएगा तो फिर हमारे इधर आए, अगर उसको तलाक नहीं दे तो फिर इधर आने की कोशिश ना करे। और ये कहा कि हम दरवाजा भी नहीं खोलेंगे। अब हम नहीं चाहते कि इमरान जो दूसरी शादी की है बगैर वजह बगैर रीजन उसको तलाक दे दे।
Now I'm giving her kind of an option. If you're happy with me and the other wife, yeah, then come back. If not, then she can go her own way. I'm not forcing her.
Bonfire night in Bradford.
We go to Nasra's house now. There's going to be quite a lot of audience there as well. It's in a choice really to agree upon it or not.
Nasra refuses to see Imran. After some persuading, an impromptu conference is held between Imran, his father, and Nasra's relatives both in Bradford and in Pakistan. He hopes her family will persuade her to come back, but on his terms. Can Imran get his family back together, hold on to his second wife, and restore his father's honour? Following Imran's revelation that he had a second wife in Pakistan, his wife Nasra had walked out. But with the help of a fatwa from the Sharia Court, Imran has got her back. They are now living in London with his parents.
8 घंटों में जो है ना ये मसला हल हुआ। हमें भी बड़ी खुशी हुई है कि एक फैमिली जो टूट रही थी वो जुड़ी आपस में।
पता मैं आना भी नहीं चाहती थी वापस।
कोई जबर तेरे पर है रखे हो?
फैमिली वालों ने मुझे भेजा जबरदस्ती। एक दफा पे इनकी बीवी, दूसरी दफा इनके बच्चे, इनको दोनों चीजें मिल रही है, तो मैं तो कहीं पे नहीं हूँ ना।
Imran has still not agreed to divorce his second wife.
मैं नहीं हूँ इस बात पे।
अच्छा, इन्होंने कब बताया था आपको?
शादी करके 8 महीने के बाद।
Iram is on the way to her first meeting at the Sharia Court. Before they will consider her case, Iram has to prove her civil divorce is underway. If her husband and wife divorce amicably in a civil court, then it's recognised by the Sharia Council. But more and more women like Iram are now choosing to also have their marriages dissolved by Islamic laws.
I feel really relaxed about seeing Dr. Hassan, the scholar. I'm almost already in awe, because, you know, he's there to help me. Probably one of the few Asian men that, you know, don't have that kind of cultural perspective of judging and thinking, well, here comes a Pakistani girl who wants to get divorced, how dare she? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Women who want to apply for Islamic divorce will first have to meet a sheikh to convince them they have reasonable grounds.
You can go in now, please. The sheikh will see you now.
The court also tries to reach absent husbands to give them the right to reply to any claims made by their wives.
Sorry.
They've contacted Iram's husband, who's awaiting trial, and he's written a letter back claiming he's a changed man and asking for another chance.
Don't you think that a person can change, can repent to Allah and can change?
I do, and that's probably why I gave him as many opportunities as I had. You know, I did love him a lot. But...
Now he's saying that he started praying 5 times a day and he has changed completely, and he is very earnestly asking you to give him another chance. Why don't you give him this chance?
I can understand your point of view because you're reading that letter, but he has written dozens of letters like that to me. You know, I tried to kill myself, and I did that while he was there. I did that in front of him. Now, if you love your wife and she takes a carving knife and slits her wrist, doesn't that make you want to change?
But it is not a sin to kill yourself, because when you see that he committed a sin, what is your defense then?
There is no defense.
Then why don't you pardon others if you have done something similar?
I mean, I'm so ashamed of what I did, and I asked God for forgiveness. I wouldn't do it again.
He says he's sorry, he asks for forgiveness. I forgive him and then he does it again.
Why don't you wait for the trial to come to see what is the sentence? If he is freed, then of course it would be a good thing we have a joint meeting. And still, if you insist on khula, nobody can stop you.
Yeah, if I've waited 3.5 years, if it means that I can get a khula in the proper sense, then I have no objection in waiting, but I don't think there's any possibility.
So let us know when the trial comes to an end.
Okay.
Let us know, and then inshallah we proceed from there.
Right.
All right?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah. Not quite how I expected, but okay.
That is what the interview was there.
Yeah, we'll go down this route. I expected it to be very different. I suppose they've got to be devil's advocate, haven't they? Because it's a two-sided thing, and he's not there to defend himself, so to speak. So he's asked them to ask me for another opportunity. So I suppose they feel they've got to do right by him too, whereas I'm here to be able to voice my problems and issues in person. So I think maybe I was expecting a little more compassion.
Yes, the women normally, they expect a divorce straight away from us. But that is not possible. We have to do justice with both parties. She has to realize the fact as well. Life is not so easy. There are complications in it.
Sheikh Hassan has lived in Britain for over 30 years. Like his father and his grandfather before him, he has devoted his life to Islam.
Our job is actually known as a person working in the field of dawah. Dawah means to propagate the teaching of Islam. When you have to say to the people how you have to live in this world, how you have to keep away from the evils like committing adultery, like drinking, like gambling. Sometimes it is not liked by the people, and this is how I think it is the most difficult job. I have said to my colleagues, sometimes I'm so much frustrated that I say to them, I wish I could lock up this office and have rest at home. But if we close this institution, it means that we are going to deprive this great section of the community, we are going to deprive them of the relief which they can get through us.
Imran and Nasra have come to the council for advice. It's Nasra's first opportunity to give her side of the story. She's still not happy about the second wife.
हम तो ज़्यादा नहीं है ना, इनको ज़्यादा पता है हमसे, इसलिए बड़ों ने भी कहा कि ठीक है, ऐसा हो सकता है.
A fatwa from a sheikh has a lot of standing in the community, and just like in Pakistan, the sheikhs are seen as interpreters of Islamic law.
नासिरा इकबाल को वापस लेता हूँ, रुजू करता हूँ, तो ये आपका रुजू हो गया. अब उस रुजू करने से ये आपकी बीवी उसी तरह जिस तरह पहले थी. आप भी इसके साथ खुश हो? किस बात के ऊपर आर्गुमेंट होता है?
ये तो यही बताइए. छोटे मोटे चीजें, बाहर जाना है नहीं जाना.
नहीं, जब शुरू से ही लड़ाई यही थी कि इन्होंने दूसरी शादी करनी है, मेरे साथ रहना ही नहीं.
और आपने कबूल भी कर लिया है कि इसने दूसरी शादी कर ली है?
शादी तो इनकी हो चुकी है, लेकिन मैं उसके साथ खुश नहीं हूँ कि उसको रखे साथ मेरे साथ.
अब ये मैं
चला नहीं सकता वो।
मैं उसको तलाक भी तो नहीं दे सकता ना। अगर आप खुश नहीं हो तो मैं उसको बस ऐसे ही फारग कर दूं।
उसकी खुशी के लिए 3 बच्चों की माँ को दे दी थी, उस वक्त नहीं पता चला।
वो असल में वो और बात थी।
बहरहाल मैं आपसे यही कहता हूँ कि देखो ये 3 बच्चों की माँ है, इसकी वजह से इसका हक ज्यादा है जी। तो आप इसके साथ खुश रहो और जहाँ तक दूसरी बीवी का ताल्लुक है आपने उसके साथ जो भी एग्रीमेंट करना है करो, और अगर ऐसा नहीं कर सकते तो उसको फारिग कर देना।
अगर वो मांगे तो, अगर वो कह दे कि ठीक आप दोनों हो गए खुश वगैरह,
ठीक है ये आपकी
मर्जी के मुताबिक
मसला है। ठीक है जी।
मैं नहीं राजी।
आप नहीं राजी? क्यों?
किस बात पे?
2 बीवियां।
वो तो मेरी हेडेक है ना, फिर इसकी तो नहीं ना। और बात तो मुझे करनी पड़ेगी, आपको तो नहीं। चलो इंशाल्लाह
मैं ना बिलीव कर दी बात तू ठीक है।
मैं ठीक हो जाऊंगा।
मैं ना बिलीव कर दी बात 6 साल गुजारे मैं तेरे नाल।
और गुजर जा सर, और कल से तैयारी शादियां करना फिर सर।
तू जिस टाइम इतनी शादी का टाइम वापस तू अक्सर मैं एक और शादी करने चले यहाँ।
नहीं।
How is he going to create equality between 2 wives when one of them is living in UK with him and the second is in Pakistan? Does it mean that he has to take leave from his job, go there and stay with her half of the time? He can't do that. He would not be creating that equality at all. And injustice is not tolerated in Islam at all.
Imran and Nasra are far from being a typical case for the council. Another marital problem has just arrived, one which drags the court into judging on a very 21st century problem.
I mean, if you look also at the titles of the names of these people, what they're calling themselves, one's called Sexy Cinderella. She's sending him messages saying things like, oh, I feel so for you. I just want this man to just let us go. This is material that I'm finding, that my children are finding around the house.
You used to work, huh?
I used to work 7 days a week. I'm getting bailiffs at my house for debts that he's incurred. Please, I beg you. Give me back my sanity.
Allahu Akbar.
Confronted with such strong evidence, Sheikh Hassan thinks it's a clear-cut case for immediate divorce. He takes it straight to his colleagues' meeting at the Leighton office. In extreme cases, the sheikhs have the power to dissolve the marriage immediately. He needs at least 2 other sheikhs to agree with him.
And to Sexy Cinderella, 21, was thinking about you, hope you are well. Oh, she was just crying. I want to relieve from him.
Because we have to find a basis on which to decide. We could nullify the marriage on the basis of all these things, but it is the requirement of justice that we should listen to the other side.
Yeah, we have to be very careful before issuing something, because we have not heard from the other side.
It's not the outcome Sheikh Hassan had hoped for. His colleagues weren't ready to issue a divorce until they'd heard from the husband. Only in extreme cases will a divorce be issued without hearing from both sides.
If you do injustice, of course you are spoiling your own life. And when we say life, it doesn't have this life only. Life in the hereafter, that is more important. This is why we don't take the decision individually.
The sheikh's rulings are not legally binding, and it's up to clients whether they follow the court's suggestions. Imran has ignored advice to treat both wives equally and is still refusing to divorce his second wife in Pakistan. Last night, Imran and Nasra had another huge row.
Do you see your future with Nasra?
Yeah, I can. I can see it with her. But that's if she comes out of this thing, that I don't really love her. Here and after might bring, boxes of roses or something just to prove the point.
इसको पता है मैं चॉकलेट खाती नहीं हूँ ना मुझे इन चीजों की शौक है
कभी खत्म नहीं होगा इसमें स्टोरी कभी एंडिंग नहीं होगी इसकी मैं असल बूढ़ा भी हो जा 80 साल का भी ये फिर भी रट करती रहेगी जी नहीं, मुझे पता है ये कहानी कभी खत्म नहीं
एक
होगी।
तरफ से होती है, आप बताएं मुझे।
लेकिन आपको क्या चाहिए? आपके हक है, आपके सारे, आप इस मुल्क में आप रह रही है, शुक्र करो कि इंग्लैंड में हो, इधर आपकी विमेंस राइट्स है।
को चाहिए था 3 बच्चों के बाप को, जब उसको उसने शादी की ना, उसको यही चाहिए था, यहाँ के राइट्स चाहिए थे और ब्रिटिश पासपोर्ट चाहिए। उसको शौक है यहाँ पे आने का, मुझे शौक है सिर्फ सुकून का, खुशी का।
जो ठीक है ना, आप मेरे टाइप की नहीं थी, आप एक रिजेक्ट थी मेरे के नजर में कि मैं करना बना चाहता था आपके साथ।
लेकिन अब डिवोर्स इसने दी ना, मुझे मिल गया था ना सब कुछ। डिवोर्स लेके इतनी बड़ी बदनामी करके भी मैं इसके साथ आई हूँ, फिर भी ये मुझे कहता है कि मैं लालच में आई हूँ। बच्चे लालच उन्होंने नहीं आया, वो जितना दफा आ जाए टाइप दी ना हो, मैं तेरे टाइप दी आज नहीं बात हुई, इस तरह से वापस भी नहीं आ सकता। ठीक है, निकल जाओ, पूरी इस्तेमाल ना हो।
For 25 years, Britain's oldest Sharia court has been helping Muslims solve their everyday problems. For Imran and Nasra, the court's ruling hasn't worked. They've just had a massive row about his second wife, and Nasra has just thrown him out.
Man, I told my dad this, yeah, go help me. I'm in a man in need, man. I need some help. But, you know, my dad goes, just deal with it, just live with it.
काफी नहीं है मेरे लिए कि जब आता है तो बैठता है और फोन पे लग जाता है, देखो मैं इससे मैसेज लिख रहा हूँ, देखो वो मेरी जान है, ये है वो है, मैं उसके बगैर नहीं रह सकता, मैं उससे बहुत प्यार करता हूँ, मैं जा रहा हूँ उसके पास। ये मेरे लिए मार उसकी काफी नहीं है।
It's really in her hands. It's really her story. You know why? Because I'm gonna go to Pakistan and stay there for a couple of months, yeah, then come back, open up a shop. It's gonna be like a normal story for me. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be busy in my daily things. She's the one who's gonna be at home thinking about it 24/7. What's happened? Where's my husband? Where's he gone? If she's capable of doing that, then it's up to her.
वही कहते हैं दबा के रखूंगा, तुम मेरी बीवी हो, इस्लाम में मेरी बीवी हो, मैं जो करूं कर सकता हूं, जो करूं मर दूं, जो करूं कर सकता हूं, हर वक्त यही बातें।
She's always thinking, yeah, that, you know, one day I'm gonna come home and saying, you know, I love you dearly, this and that. But this is reality, you know, it only happens in films, but this is reality.
Sheikh Hassan is at an Islamic expo where politicians and community leaders have gathered to promote a greater understanding of Islam in Britain. For years, the Sharia Council has been pushing hard for Sharia to be accepted as a part of British law. The Sheikh takes the opportunity to corner Lord Falconer, the then Lord Chancellor.
Yes, nice to see you.
We met in a reception of Pakistan's Chief Judge.
That's
when he came,
right, in a little building in Westminster.
That's right, that's right. And I said to you that we want to invite you to our seminar in Islamic Sharia Council, where we discuss about
That's right.
arbitration.
I said yes to that. I said yes when you asked. What then happened?
But you never came. Because we always receive your apology every year.
Oh, right.
But this...
okay, I'll see you on Thursday.
The Sharia Council says they have invited Lord Falconer a number of times to their annual conference, but that he always sends his apologies. They claim all of their attempts to engage with the government have led nowhere. The Sharia Council's attempts for state recognition have also attracted the attention of the media. 2 weeks ago, Sheikh Hassan was informed by Channel 4's dispatches that he'd been the subject of undercover filming about extreme Islamic preachers. Tonight, Sheikh Hassan is watching the programme as it goes to air.
Lord Ahmed recently said that he would ask the Lord Chancellor to meet an organisation called the Islamic Sharia Council, including its Secretary General, a preacher called Sheikh Suhaib Hassan. The meeting would be to discuss the introduction of Islamic divorce laws into the UK Constitution. Our reporter secretly filmed Sheikh Hassan speaking at Green Lane Mosque. He's a senior imam at a major mosque in East London. In speeches on other Islamic websites, he predicts the coming of an Islamic state.
Allah has decreed this thing, that I am going to be dominant. The dominance, of course, is the political dominance.
Then the state will launch jihad.
Then jihad against the non-Muslims, against those people who are the oppressors.
Words spoken at that establishment.
The programme branded Sheikh Hassan an extremist, but it's an accusation that doesn't bother him.
He said he was not aware of all the views held by Sheikh Hassan.
I am not concerned about the other views of the Lord Chancellor. He may have some extremist views as well. So he must not care about my views, whether they are extreme or not. I say no, they are not extremes. But if somebody thinks that these are extremist views, we are not concerned here because we are not there to discuss these issues. In the British Empire, when they were ruling India, they have recognized the Muslim personal law. And even the British judges, Hindu judges, they were implementing it for the Muslims. And the very same people, when they moved to this country, why this right is denied to them, this is our question. Duty is to keep on striving. Because this is our faith that results come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from God. You have to do your work only. So as long as I am ready to do my work, even if he does not see me, I don't care about it at all. I have done my duty.
Regardless of whether they get state recognition or whether Sheikh Hassan's views are seen as being extreme, the reality is more and more Muslims are turning to the court for religious rulings, and their workload is increasing.
It's never ending. When there are people, there are fights, and when there are fights, there are divorces.
I would tell you to advise him that talaq is something which should not be abused or played with, not even in joke.
Bit overworked, overwhelmed.
Just let me check the file first. Hold on.
Okay.
Time is short and art is long. That is the problem here.
Iram's husband was acquitted. The council contacted him for a meeting, but he didn't show up. Iram finally got her Islamic divorce. Imran left Nasra and his children to go to Pakistan for 7 months to be with his second wife. He has no plans to divorce either of his wives. Nasra has no plans to divorce Imran.
I think one day British government would consider that this is something which is going to make their burden lighter, and then it is going to win their hearts.
To find out more about the issues raised in this programme and to discuss the role of religious courts, visit our website channel4.com/belief. Up next, hot weather for a wife swap. Sunny Spain, Marbella is where it's at.